Are you ready to blow your audience away with a great experience? Well, listen up. You've come to the right place. Grab your notepad and sit back. The show is ready to begin.
Welcome to the Chris Rissy Podcast, where small business owners and entrepreneurs get first-hand tips and insight on creating ultimate personal experiences. Let's get this show on the road.
And welcome back again to the Chris Rissy Podcast. I am Chris Rissy, and thank you for tuning in. I appreciate my listeners. You guys, we are one and the same. I love listening to podcasts. I hope you love listening to mine, as well as other podcasts that talk about small business and entrepreneurship, freelancing. You know, these things, this is what we're passionate about. And I'm very passionate about it, and I want to talk about these concepts and share them, the ideas that come out of it, the relationships that we create. I'm all about it. So, hey, another episode here, and this one's about customers and clients, and what really the difference is, especially at the small business level. And there's a lot of different attitudes about this, but I want to share my attitude and how I see customers and clients, as well as those around me, how they see customers and clients. It seems like it's a community definition as well as an individual definition of what the two really mean. And I mean, if you really look up the definition, you're going to see that a customer is somebody who really just purchases a product, while a client is a person who utilizes a service. And I tend to think it goes beyond that. I think it's more detailed. There's a lot more variables that go into it instead of it being so clear and cut. So yeah, but you know, you get to make the decision for your business as well. Okay, well, before we get into the episode, I recently posted on the blog something that is very important to me, and that is about balance. Balance for many small business owners is something that they're seeking. They are successful when their life is balanced, whether it's work and life or, you know, whatever it might be, whatever balance might be. But most people are seeking balance. And something that I've realized is that balance is the last thing you want if you want to truly grow a business and work towards something. Because when you're in balance, you are not moving. So yeah, make sure to head over to chrisrissy.com and check out Business is Great When Your Balance is Horrible. I'll make sure to link to it in the show notes. All right, well, let's go ahead and get to the topic at hand. We're talking about customers versus clients. Customers versus clients, or clients versus customers, one or the other, or maybe both. But in this episode, I want to talk about the difference between customers and clients and why it matters to your business. Okay. Customers, clients, and right now you might be feeling one way or the other. And if you've been in business, you start to recognize who customers are and who clients are, and you start to understand how you attract customers and clients, and you start to understand which one you type or which type of relationship you prefer. And so that's the key word with customers and clients, is it's all about relationships. And relationships are a great analogy on defining and relating these two different types of relationships together and what makes them different. All right, so let's focus on customers here real quickly. Customers are like acquaintances. And when you think about it, you probably have far more acquaintances than you do friends. Acquaintances, they come and they go. You really don't think about these individuals, these people very often, but you do recognize them when you see them, and you can interact with them on an acquaintance level. So that acquaintance, the acquaintance, think of it as like if you had a job in the past and the people that you worked with, you really only knew them, especially to begin with, at the acquaintance level. You know what their capacity is based upon the relationship you have to have with them at that job. There's minimal interaction. There's only interaction when it's required. The relationship is formed completely out of convenience. You have to work with each other. So it's convenient for you to have some level of relationship there so you can work together. But beyond that, there's really no need to go deeper or have a more meaningful relationship for either party. That means neither you nor the other person needs to go beyond the acquaintance level. And that really describes what a customer relationship is. And how it should work. And that does make it more quantifiable because there's not a lot of commitment there. There's minimal interaction, necessity, and convenience. All right, so let's look at clients now and the client relationship. The client relationship is all about quality, and these type of relationships we can describe in an analogy is like best friends. And you can think about the friends that you've had from childhood, from school, from college, maybe even a neighbor. Maybe you had a great neighbor who you just fell in love with and became great friends with. Maybe not. But anyways, somewhere in your life, you've probably had a very good friend, or at least I hope you have. If not, maybe I can be your friend. Okay, anyways, back to the subject at hand. Best friends, you really have a strong tie with that person. You have a lot of the same interests. You have a lot of interaction. There's a lot of energy in that relationship. In this type of relationship, the client relationship or the best friend relationship is deep and long lasting. I mean, it lasts for years. And think about the best friends that you've had that you might not have seen for a long time. As soon as you see them, you hit it right back off. The same discussions and topics, just they start off where they left off, and that's a great thing. And as well with having that best friend relationship, you know tons of things about each other, and you're not afraid to look for that information and ask for that information, the details. And that's for both. They're asking you information, you're asking them for information. And it's, that's the best friend type of relationship very much describes the client relationship. You can't have a lot of best friends. All right. So we've seen the two analogies between customers and clients, acquaintances and best friends. So now let's start really looking at what separates these two as far as being a customer and being a client. Looking at the customer again, and as I said before with the analogy of the acquaintances, these relationships are formed out of necessity and convenience, meaning your product or your service is found and utilized based upon a need and a convenience, and meaning that those probably are both minimal. This type of relationship is very simple, not complex, and black and white. You provide product or service X, they pay for product, service, or product or service X. And it's very, very clear on what's happening here. And that can be great. I mean, that's very critical, especially in sales when everything can be very clear. Expectations are very clear. It doesn't take a lot of commitment to get into the transaction. On the other hand, customers, because they are so minimally committed to you, they are easily persuaded by alternatives. Meaning if the next best thing comes along, they're probably going to move to it. If something else comes along that's more convenient or satisfies a greater need for them, you're often going to lose them due to that. And it might be a competitor. And this is where you have to be very competitive to try to retain that type of customer. And again, the commitment level is low for the customer, but it's also low for you. You don't have to provide a high level of support to that customer because the expectations are low. And with, I guess, another pro to the customer type of relationship, and again, as I mentioned this in acquaintances, you can have many to one, meaning you can have far more customers and can support and sustain far more customers compared to yourself and the size of your business with that type of relationship structure. It's a greater number of customers supported in your business compared to the client type of relationship. And so this is a great transition now into clients. Clients, it's all about the quality of the relationship. We've had customers that were all about quantity. Clients are all about the quality. These type of relationships, when we think back towards the analogy with the best friends, these are complex and invested relationships for both you and the client. The client relationship is very needy, requires lots of support, and has high expectations. And that's not to say that that's bad. If you are able to satisfy that higher level of expectation and that greater need and can provide the support for it, then it's a great relationship. And in the client relationship, this business relationship, also comes with more. It's not so black and white. It may have additional factors. It may have some strings attached to it. There might be some special deals or a lot of negotiation taking place on how things are going to go. And so with that, it does require a more committed and stronger commitment from both parties to that type of relationship, meaning the client will often see you and you will often see the client as a partnership. It's a mutual type of relationship where it's a partnership where they have a need and your service satisfies it, but it will definitely go beyond what you would see in a typical customer type of transaction. On, I guess, a pro or con to the client relationship is the amount of hesitation and avoidance there is to end that relationship. And that's a good thing and a bad thing. That's why I said it's a pro or a con. And it really just depends on how you look at it. If you are providing an excellent service or an excellent product with all the support and everything that client needs, obviously they should be hesitant and avoid trying to end that relationship. And so should you. On the other hand, if it's not a great fit, meaning you are unable or your business is unable to meet those expectations or satisfy that need, then it's probably going to be very difficult. If it's a deep-seated type of client relationship, it's going to be very difficult to get out of that. It's going to be the hesitation and avoidance is going to turn it into a bad relationship and hopefully not an abusive relationship for either of you. The client relationship, since it's so focused on quality, it's hard to have a large quantity of these types of relationships. And so we like to look at these as one-to-one relationship structures compared to the many-to-one relationship structures with customers. And that really just means there's a lower sustainable ratio for effectiveness, meaning you can't work with a high number of quality relationships at once. And I'm talking about you individually, or is your business as an individual entity. Yeah, it does require a larger business in order to have more clients, versus where a smaller business could have more customers. So that's, again, the difference in comparing the two. And then that's not to say that one-to-one relationships are a bad thing. If you're getting the quality relationship from a client that you're looking for and can have that with only a handful of clients or a low number of clients, and it's sustainable that way, then that works out well for your business, for you, and for your clients. All right, so why does this matter? I mean, again, I've talked about the sustainability, the difference between customers and the difference between clients, the quantity versus quality type of relationships. And this matters really down to who you are as a person and how you want your business to work. But what really helps decide and make this happen comes down to the expectations that are created by your brand and by your marketing message. Oftentimes, a customer or a client, or the potential customer or the potential client, cannot consciously make this decision. This decision is made subconsciously by how your brand represents itself and how your marketing messaging basically creates a perception for your business. These two things go hand in hand, your brand and your marketing message. The brand is how people really truly perceive your business outside of your business messaging, and your marketing messaging is how you control what is said and portrayed by your business. And when these two work hand in hand, you will either work effectively to attract more customers or more clients. And when you are in control of that and understand what's going on there, then you will get the result you're looking for. But that's not to say that your business won't have both clients and customers. You might have more clients, you might have more customers, but you'll have both. And you'll find yourself losing a certain type of relationship more often, depending on, again, how your business presents itself, what that brand means, what that marketing message says. And for you, why it matters, customers versus clients, why it ultimately matters is you have to make the decision on what type of relationships you want to have for your business and in your life, really. Because when you can make that decision, you can then make decisions on branding, on marketing messaging. That will attract those types of relationships to you. And when you have that clarity, when you have that focus, then even on relationship building, it's going to allow you to get through where there might have been hurdles because you're attracting the wrong people. So my question to you now today is, what type of relationship are you wanting to attract? Is it customers? Is it clients? And why? Why does it matter to you which one you try to attract? And as I said during the show intro, these definitions of customer versus client, they're yours. You need to be the one who makes the definition for you. And you're the one who gets to decide if you prefer to have a customer or if you prefer to have a client type of relationship. If it was, obvious, I prefer the client relationships. I'm not out to get tons and tons of customers. I would much rather have far fewer relationships and just have the client relationship. And because I enjoy that. But that's just me. Okay, well, again, this was episode 14, and you can get the show notes over at EP14. That's chrisrissy.com/EP14. And if you haven't checked out the show notes before, on these solo shows that I like to do, I always have my dry erase board, a photo of my dry erase board for you to check out. So you can actually see my thought process as my notes come together for recording these podcasts. It's kind of cool to look at. Sometimes it's just a lot of scribbling. Sometimes, there's an equation there that might make a lot of sense to you. And as always, any resources, they're also available there. And I always try to have a little bit of something in the show that is not back on the show notes, but then I also like to do the reverse and have something in the show notes that isn't mentioned on the show. Okay, while you're over at chrisrissy.com, make sure to subscribe. I've been saying this for a while now. I've got some cool things coming up. I don't want to say exactly what those are here on the show yet, but to my subscribers, you guys know what's going on, and it's pretty cool. Okay, well, last but not least, if you are on Twitter, please send me a tweet and just say, hey, listen to the podcast, watched a Thursday Stop, checked out the blog. Let me know. Let me know how you're interacting, and I want some feedback if you like what I'm putting out there. I want to know. Need to know. And, okay. Well, that's the end of the episode, customers versus clients. And, what's the difference and why it matters? Okay. As always, be the experience, master your business, and I'll talk to you next time.
You just listened to the Chris Rissy Podcast. Get past podcast episodes and more.
Visit chrisrissy.com.
Be the experience.
Master your business.